Bedtime is supposed to be a happy event for tired children. For me, it was terrifying. Well, some children might complain about being put to bed before they have finished watching a film, playing their favorite video game. When I was a kid, nighttime was something to truly fear. Somewhere in the back of my mind, it still is. As someone who is trained in science, I cannot prove that what happened to me was objectively real, but I can swear that what I experienced was genuine horror. A fear which in my life, I'm glad to say, has never been equaled. I will relate it to you now, as best I can. Make of it what you will, but I'll be glad to just get it off my chest. I can't remember exactly when it started, but my reaction towards falling asleep seemed to correspond with my being moved into a room of my own. I was 8 years old at the time. Until then, I had shared a room quite happily with my older brother. As is perfectly understandable for a boy of 5 years, is my senior, my brother, eventually wished for a room of his own, and as a result, I was given the room at the back of the house. It was smooth, narrow, yet oddly room, large enough for a bed and a couple of chests, drawers, but not much else. I couldn't really complain because even at that age I understood that we did not have a large house, and I had no cause to be disappointed, as my family was both loving and caring. It was a happy childhood during the day. A solitary window looked out onto our back garden, nothing out of the ordinary. But even during the day, the light which crept into that room seemed almost hesitant. As my brother was given a new bed, I was given bunk beds, which we used to share. While I was upset about sleeping on my own, I was excited at the thought of being able to sleep in the top bed, which seemed far more adventurous to me. From the very first night I remembered a strange feeling of unease creeping slowly from the back of my mind. I lay on the top bunk, staring down at my action figures and cars stewing across the green and blue carpet. As imaginary battles and adventures took place between the toys on the floor, I couldn't help but feel that my eyes were being slowly drawn towards the bottom bunk, as if something was moving in the corner of my eye. Something which did not wish to be seen. The bunk was completely empty, made with a dark blue blanket tucked in neatly, but partly covered with two rather bland white pillows. Didn't think anything of it at the time. I was a child, a noise slipping under my door from my parents' television bathed me in a warm sense of safety and well-being. I fell asleep. When you awake from deep sleep, something moving or stirring. It takes me a moment for you to truly understand what is happening. The fog of sleep hangs over your eyes and ears, even when lucid. Something is moving, there was no doubt about that. At first I wasn't sure what it was. Everything was dark and pitch black, but there was enough light creeping in outside to outrun that last. That narrow, suffocating room. Two thoughts appeared in my mind almost simultaneously. The first was that my parents were in bed because the rest of the house was both in darkness and silence. The second thought turned to the noise. A noise which had obviously woken me, as the last cobwebs of sleep withered from my mind. The noise took on a more familiar form. Sometimes the simplest of sounds can be at most unnerving. At a cold wind whistled through a tree outside, a neighbour's footsteps uncomfortably close. On this case, the simplest sound, bed sheets rustling in the dark. That was it. Bed sheets rustling in the dark, as if undisturbed sleeper was attempting to get all too comfortable in the bottom bunk. I lay there in disbelief, thinking that the noise was either my imagination, or perhaps just my pet cat finding somewhere comfortable to spend the night. It was then that I noticed my door, shut as it had been as I fallen to sleep. Perhaps my mum had checked in on me, and the cat had sneaked into my room then. Yes, that must have been it. I turned to face the wall, closing my eyes in the vain hope that I might fall back to sleep. As I moved, the rustling noise from underneath me ceased. I thought that I must have disturbed my cat. Quickly I realized that the visitor at the bottom was much less mundane than my pet trying to sleep, and much more sinister. As if alerted to, disconcerted by my presence, the disturbed sleeper began to toss. Like a child having a tantrum in their bed, I could hear the sheets twist and turn increasingly. Fear then gripped me, not my subtle sense of unease I had experienced earlier, now intense and terrifying. My heart raced as my eyes panicked, scanning the almost impenetrable darkness. I let out a cry, as most young boys do. I instantly shout out on my mother. I could hear something stir on the other side of the house. As I begin to breathe a sigh of relief, penetrating safety, bunk bed suddenly started to shake violently, as if gripped by an earthquake. Scraping against the wall, I could hear the sheets slowly thrashing around, as if tormented by mice. I did not want to jump down to safety, as I feared the thing at the bottom bunk would reach out and grab me, pulling me into the darkness. So I stayed there, white knuckles clenched. I only blanket like a shroud of protection. The weight seems like an eternity. The door finally and thankfully burst open. I lay aiming light on the bottom bunk, the rest of the place my only lay empty and peaceful. I cried to my mother consoled me. Tears of fear, followed by relief, streamed down my face. It all, through all of the horror in me, I did not tell her why I was so upset. I cannot explain, but it was as though whatever had been in the bunk returned by so much as spoke of it, or uttered a single syllable of its existence. Whether that was the truth, I do not know. But as a child I felt as if that unseen menace remained close, listening. My mother lay in the empty bunk, promising to stay there until morning. Eventually my anxiously diminished tiredness pushed me back towards sleep, but I remained restless, waking several times momentarily to the sound of the bedsheet. I remember the next day wanting to go anywhere, be anywhere, but in that narrow, suffocating room. It was a Saturday, and I played outside quite happily with my friends. And although our house was not large, we were lucky to have a long sloping garden at the back. We played there often, as much of it was overgrown. We could hide in bushes, climb in the huge sycamore tree which towered above all else, and easily imagine ourselves in the throes of grand adventure in some untamed sort of land. As fun as it was, while occasional eyes would turn to that small window, or ordinary slight inches. But for me, that thin boundary was a looking glass into a strange cold pocket of dread. Outside someone screamed, surrounded by our garden filled with the smile on the face of my friend, could not extinguish the creepy feeling crawling its way up my spine, each hair standing on end. The feeling of something in that room watching me play, waiting for the night when I would be alone, eagerly filled with hate. It may sound strange to you, but by the time my parents rushed me back into that room for the night, I said nothing. I didn't protest. I didn't even make an excuse as to why I couldn't sleep there. I simply and suddenly walked into that room, climbed a few steps into the top bunk, and then waited. As an adult would tell me, would be telling everyone about my experience, but even at that age,